Radio, Southwest Florida, Sarasota, Manatee, Bradenton area, November the 12th. Today we have a great guest by the name of KRUG. Connor career high is 130 rank on the ITF tour before COVID. He's 7 in the country. He won grade 4 and grade 3 ITF title. He's committed to Duke University in the fall of 2021. Connor has competed in ITF level tournament ranging from grade 5 to grade 8 level. He won gold ball in the USTA National. Won bronze ball also in USTA National. A round of 16 in Kalamazoo. State champion in tennis for the Outdoor Academy. He competed in baseball, competed as a baseball player until the age of 12. He played a Spartan Pros, a top 20 team in the country. Started tennis at age 5. Began playing the ITF tour after switching to online school. Welcome to Sekou Radio, Connor.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Connor, your resume is so heavy. I was wondering if I forgot anything. Do you have anything to add to your resume? Anything I forgot? Anything you can tell our millions of listeners?
No, I mean, you pretty much summed it up. I've been, as my resume shows, I've been a competitive tennis player over the last, 10 years of my life. And in the last 6 years, it really escalated, and I've taken the game a lot more seriously. And therefore, I've accomplished a lot in the last couple of years.
Connor, you're a great athlete, and then you're from a family of athletes. Your mother played high-level NCAA tennis, and your dad played high-level football. You have, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so my mother played tennis for the University of Notre Dame, and my dad was a quarterback for the University of Notre Dame. So from a young age, I've always been introduced to sports and athletics. And, when I was a kid growing up, they really believed in putting me in, frankly, as many sports as possible. And as you know, Sekou, you can learn many different lessons by playing different sports, and they all translate to each other. So I played baseball, soccer, basketball, tennis. And, now that I'm, strictly playing tennis, I believe that playing those other sports as a kid really helped me develop in certain areas that translate to my tennis. And, I also have an aunt and an uncle. My aunt played tennis alongside my mother at Notre Dame, and my uncle played lacrosse. So there's a strong sense of athletics in our family, and my cousins grew up playing sports as well.
Yes, you're right. Your family is sport, and let's not forget your grandfather is a great sports person. Can you tell us a little bit about grandfather and grandma?
Yeah, so my grandfather, as most of you may know, is Dick Vitale. He is an analyst for ESPN, and he's been doing that for forever. And so having him as my grandfather, I've been around the highest level of professional athletes and been to some of the greatest sporting events that sports has to offer. And it's really showed me, being around some of these athletes and seeing them and seeing what they do, the professionalism that they carry each and every day, and how they act, how they treat their teammates, how they go about their business. And also how those athletes handle the pressure and the great moments, going to the Final Fours, seeing great players make great shots at the last moments. And it's really taught me a lot that's helped me in my tennis for sure.
I'm going to ask you this question, Connor. I know it's not easy to be great in any of these sports because we have 17 different sections in U.S. We have nationals, ITF, foreign players. Can you tell the millions of people listening to us what it takes to be good like Connor, to be 130 in the world, to be offer a scholarship to Duke University?
Yeah, what I think first of all, you got to have a long-term goal, and you also have to have short-term goals, and you got to consistently work hard. I think too many people see the long-term goal and feel like it's too hard or not possible. But if you put in the work every single day, working consistently, working smart, and working hard, you'll see the progress when you look back. I look back 6 years ago, and I can't believe how much better I've gotten as a person and as a player. And, that just comes from working hard every single day. I know it sounds cliche, but it's true. That's what you got to do. That's the most important thing. And just also surrounding yourself with the right people. I think having the right team around you is key to be successful as well, because it's not all on you. You also have to have people helping you along the way. And I've been fortunate enough to have some great people around me helping me.
That's a great answer. I know you went to ODA, Outdoor Academy, and then at one point you decided to switch for online school. Would you like to share with us why you made that move?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So around 14, 15 years old, throughout that time I was playing the USTA circuit, the USTA national circuit, traveling around the country, playing the tournaments on the weekend, and then some tournaments along the week. The Super Nationals, they call them, are the highest level tournaments, and they're week-long. So I was playing those. But at a certain point when I was 14, 15 years old, I felt like I needed a bigger challenge to help grow my game. And the ITF circuit, it's basically the junior version of the pro circuit. It follows the ATP Tour and the locations of the tournaments, and also just the best kids from all over the world play the ITF circuit. So, and traveling to other countries and playing one match a day, being in other countries, different hotels, different food, different languages, it all helped me mature as a player. And but first and foremost, just the level of the ITF circuit's a lot higher. And to take my game to the next level, I felt that's what I needed. And, it was definitely the right choice for me.
Good. Now, I know you grew up in Florida, and can you tell our listener what is the advantage of living and growing up in Florida compared to someone from one of the northern states, such as New York, where it snows?
Yeah. So, first of all, as a young kid, before I chose tennis as my only sport, here in Florida, we have so many different sports. And the biggest advantage is you can play year-round. So you can play baseball all year. You can play soccer all year. You can play basketball. You can play so many different sports without having to stop just because the weather gets bad. And for tennis, one of the big advantages is that you can play outdoors all year long, which is huge. And you also can train on clay. Now, up in the north, they don't really have clay courts. So here, tennis is so big and we never have to stop. All year long, we can keep training. In the weather, when we're training in 90-degree heat every day. So when sometimes I see kids from the north, they come down here to play tournaments in Florida, and I can, maybe outlast them just because I'm used to hanging in the 90-degree weather.
Yes. You just mentioned one good point. I would like to ask you a question about it. If you have a choice between hardcore training and clay court training, which one would you prefer?
I would prefer clay court training. I think on clay, it really teaches you how to build the points. You learn how to move better as well, and you learn the strategy of the game. You learn how to win points with your head as well as your strokes. And, I think I heard Roger Federer once in an interview say that he believes that, the best way to grow up is growing up on clay. And I couldn't agree more.
Yes. And the reason I'm going with this question is we have like 4,000 colleges in the U.S., and 95% of them have hard court. And U.S. used to lead the world of tennis. But college hard court have provoked a lot of injuries. We lost a lot of good players to hard court. Do you think college should convert some of their court to clay or stay hard court?
Well, I think, logistically speaking, the only way for them to play is on hard court because, as most of the United States goes indoor hard court in the winter. And, Florida maybe could be clay court, but that wouldn't make sense for them just to have clay courts. The rest of the country, other than California, Arizona, and some other places, have to go indoors. In hard court is also, as you know, there's zero maintenance costs, basically. Whereas clay, there's maintenance involved, and it's just a lot more difficult on the school. So I think financially, hard court is a much, better option for the school, and I think that's ultimately why they choose to do it.
Okay. Now, I know you've been traveling a lot. What is your routine before you travel, or how you go about picking up a tournament, regions, continent, countries? Can you school the next generation? Can you tell us how you go about picking your tournament and traveling to that country and play tennis tournament?
Yeah, sure. So when you start out on the ITF tour, you start playing the lower level events, the grade 5 and grade 4 level events. And there's pretty much one of those every week in a region of the world. So during any given week, there's one of those in South America, the Caribbean, Europe, Asia, or even Africa. They have some in North Africa. So you can pretty much just play in an isolated location of the world in that level. But once you graduate and move up the rankings and start playing the grade 1, grade A, and grade 2 level tournaments, there you pretty much have to just follow the circuit. So, you might have to fly to Asia, you might have to fly to South America, you might have to fly to Europe, because there's not so many of those a year, So there's only 8 grade A events a year, including the Grand Slams. So it's not like you can just, stay and choose where you want to play. When there's one of those, you're going to have to go and play. So you just learn how to manage it, how to manage the jet lag, the different countries, and it becomes easier as you do it more. Great answer.
Now, how you feed yourself on the tour while you're traveling? How you eat? What are your habits? Do you eat?
Yeah. So when I'm traveling to these different places, the cuisine changes often, but I like to try to keep it as safe as possible because, when you go to a different country and you try, maybe the local cuisine, there's always a chance that you get food poisoning or you get sick. So I try to keep it as simple as possible. I always drink bottled water first and foremost because you never know the water situation in the country. And I always try to stick with just chicken, pasta. I always have everything cooked all the way through. And pretty much if there's any chain restaurants, I stick with those. But if not, the hotel is always a viable option.
Good. So with all this travel, can you tell us how many countries have you been to so far? I know I used to travel. I've been to almost every country around the world. But for Connor, can you tell us where have you been so far?
Oh, countries? That's hard to keep track of, but I've been to pretty much all of Central America, been to South America, I've been to Europe, and have not been to Asia. I've been to Canada, and obviously all around the States.
Right. So what has been your favorite country? What is your favorite?
Favorite country? I would have to say I enjoyed Colombia. I loved the food there. People were really nice. Just a great country.
Okay. What part of Colombia was this?
Barranquilla.